Allie, you may not know this. By the way, this is Allie Green. She is Jack Green's granddaughter-in-law. And Allie, you may not know this, but in 2020, we had an emphasis called Who's Your One? And basically what I did this time last year, I asked all of our church family to identify one person who they knew who needed to have a closer relationship with Christ, and to begin praying for that person and to look for opportunities to have gospel conversations. Y'all may remember that 3 weeks ago now, I believe it was, that Allie came forward to make her public profession of faith. So yes, you can clap for that. You were Jack's one, and he told me that from the very beginning, that you were his one, that he was praying for. He knew that you guys were going to be headed this direction at some point in 21 and or in 20, and so he was praying for you. And can you share with us what it means for you as a new believer in Jesus?
So I'm the reluctant one up here. It's just been really an amazing experience that to have God in my corner when all my life, I've always been reluctant to even reach out and find God. And I met Jack, and he kind of sat down and talked with me and explained what a relationship with God really means, instead of all the misconceptions that I've had, the last all my life. And so he really opened that door for me to be able to, just have that relationship. So it's been really good.
Good. Richard, in your role as facility team chairman, back March the 11th, 13th, I guess 13th would have been the Sunday, I invited you to participate in a leadership council as we looked at making decisions regarding COVID, first to shut down and then to reopen a little bit later on. As we made those considerations in your role, what were some of the things that maybe concerned you, both in the shutting down and in the reopening?
Well, I think for all the members of the council, it was a tough decision to make. We know how much it means to so many of our members to meet here corporately and to worship together. And we didn't want to take that away, but at the same time, the information we were getting was new. We didn't know that much about the virus, just that it was very contagious and that it was more dangerous for people in a 65-plus age group, which I fell into. And we knew we had a lot of members in that age group as well. So I think our biggest concern, and one of mine, was just trying to keep everybody safe, keep them well. And at the same time, we didn't want to give up that worship experience together. And I know you were instrumental in helping with that, with doing the services through Facebook. And then later, as we started talking about coming back, we learned a little more, had some direction from the CDC on guidances to follow, and I think we've done a pretty good job of that here. And as you've all heard so many times now, you're probably tired of it, with the social distancing and the masking and all of that stuff, which I took mine off because I didn't think you could hear me if I left it on. But then we were able to start streaming live stream, so the people who didn't feel comfortable with coming back yet at that time could have a little more true life worship experience, still be at home in safety of their homes, and enjoy the music, which to me is such a big part of worship. And it's been a really, really good thing since then. But we're still concerned and still watching and still taking notes and just still concerned with keeping everyone safe.
Melissa, you guys are one of the families that kind of reconnected. Y'all had sort of pulled away a little bit, I guess, when Devin went off to school, maybe. Y'all had kind of pulled away a little bit, weren't quite as active. But I remember in those early days being online, whether it was on Sunday morning, you would always check in on the chat, or on Wednesday nights, you would always comment on the Facebook feed. What has it meant to you to be back. And by the way, you guys have missed very few Sundays since we came back in person. What kind of drew you back in?
All right, so I'm going to take this twofold. First, I'm going to take the digital initiatives aspect of it. I just want to talk about the prayer meetings on Wednesday night. That was something I never did before until it became digital. So for me to be able to connect with members of my church family that otherwise I probably wouldn't even speak to, it's really been very meaningful to me. I keep telling myself I'm going to come in on the Zoom meeting one of these days, but right now I'm just a Facebook stalker. But yeah. And then as far as the coming back in person, so I never thought in my lifetime that the church doors would be closed. So to me, when they got reopened, it's like God's telling us that, you know, it's an honor and a privilege to be a part of corporate worship. So we need to be here with our family, growing together, learning together, and praising God together. Thank
you for that. Richard, I was thinking back, going all the way back to the food drive that we did. You guys participated in that. Every community-based ministry that we have done in 21 and 20. I'm already jumping to next year. That's how much I want to be done with last year. But every ministry opportunity that we've had in 2020, you have been there volunteering. What has that meant to your spiritual growth to serve in those ways?
Well, it's been a tremendous experience. It's been a blessing to me. I believe that a church should be more than just us sitting here and keeping the pews warm. I think we need to minister to the community like we did in those events, and giving the food boxes out to people that were in need, especially people that lost jobs due to the COVID pandemic. And then the Christmas outreach, when we gave away from socks to makeup, just to be there and experience a lot of socks. But just to be there and experience that and see the people that came through, and you could just see the need and also the gratitude, because I think a lot of them didn't know where their next meal might be coming from.
Yeah.
And I really feel like that's what church should be, ministering, as we have said, across the street and around the world. But we started here across the street, literally.
Yeah.
And it just felt good to be able to be a part of that, to help people, and partnering with Kingdom family has also been a great experience. I got to know a lot of their members and a lot of their people who also volunteered and helped out. And it was just, I guess, the whole experience was just a real blessing, and I hope we continue to do that in the future, and I'm sure we will.
Allie, one of the things that impressed me about you, I think it was the same Sunday that you made your profession of faith. We were going to be sorting all of the things that we were bringing in for the Christmas outreach, and you asked about volunteering. And I just thought that really struck me as like, here's somebody who really wants to jump in and be a part of the body. And of course, you served over there several days. The very next morning, you were there when we brought in the first group of stuff. And why was that important for you to serve in those ways?
Well, when as you said, we just moved to Alabama from Texas, and I don't really have a sense of community here yet. With COVID and everything, we're not really going out and doing anything, so we're just staying at home. And I had this opportunity to go do something and help some other people, and it was like, well, I have the time, and why not? And like you were just saying, it was such a good group of people that we were just helping, just coming together to help people who really needed it. And so it was really an amazing experience to be able to do that. So,
Melissa, I'll close with you. Today, we're not only taking a look back at what God has done in 2020, but we're also looking forward to 2021. And I'll give you the option on this, or you may want to do both, but what is one existing ministry that we are already doing that you would perhaps like to see enhanced, or what is one new ministry you would like to see us engage in the future?
Okay, so obviously the children's ministry has always been near and dear to my heart. That's kind of what got us here, and Bible Drill was really important for my son through his development here when he was at Huffman. And of course, I've always loved the music ministry, praise and worship. I think that's one of the ways that we can reach people and connect to people on a level that otherwise we might not be able to. But honestly, I think the ministries that honor God most are the ones that we've been talking about, the ones where we are answering that call of going across the street and around the world, the things that show that we care, that we really care about basic needs. And the adage about how people say they don't, no one really cares how much you know until they know how much you care. I think that very much applies to spreading the gospel. No one wants to know what we know about Jesus unless we are his hands and feet. And so those ministries are the ones that I think are where we're called to reach out. And if there's like a community in particular, obviously our neighbors and friends around us. And for me personally, near and dear would be anything that would have anything to do with Spanish. But yeah, those are the things that I feel like God wants us to do, is just the things that let us be Jesus for the people around us.
Wow. I prayed before I invited the three of you, and there are many, many others I could have chosen from. But based on your responses, I believe the Lord had a purpose for the three of you sitting where you are this morning. I want to thank you. I know I stretched you a little bit out of your comfort zone, but God has used you this morning, and I appreciate you for that. Church, give them a hand as we go back to our seats.